Good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about the ICTs and teacher education for global context and framework. Information communication technologies or ICTs are a major factor in shaping the new global economy and producing rapid changes in society. Within the past decade, the new ICT tools have fundamentally changed the way people communicate and do business. They have produced significant transformations in industry, agriculture, medicine, business, engineering, and other fields. They also have the potential to transform the nature of education, where and how learning takes place, and the roles of students and teachers in learning process. There are four global contexts and framework. First is the traditional view of the learning process. Second, changes in views of the learning process. Third, a shift from teaching to learning. And fourth, theories supporting the new view of the learning process. So the first one is the traditional view of the learning process. The teacher is the expert of the and the dispenser of the knowledge of the students. The traditional teacher-centered approach to learning. The teacher is the expert and dispenser of knowledge to the students. It is a largely broadcast model of learning where the teacher serves as the repository and transmitter of knowledge to the students. The traditional educational paradigm is often characterized by the following views of learning. First, learning is hard. Many view learning as a difficult and often tedious process. According to this view, if students are having fun or enjoying what they have doing in a learning activity, they probably are not learning. Second, learning is based on a deficit model of the students. The system strives to identify deficiencies and weaknesses of the student. Based on noted deficiencies, students are tracked, categorized, remediated, or failed. The impact of the deficit model of students' learning is most obvious in compensatory education programs. It is implied by the term compensatory education is designed to make up or remediate learning that some children, particularly poor minority children, do not have, but which the curriculum and structure of schooling assume are common to all children. Third, learning is a process of information transfer and reception. Much of our present learning enterprise remains information-oriented, emphasizing students reproducing knowledge rather than producing their own knowledge. It also remains teacher-centered. Many still see the role of the teacher as a dispenser of information and the role of the student as a passive receiver, storer, and repeater of the transmitted information. Fourth is the learning is individual solitary process. Students almost anonymously rejected this daily ordeal of dull and ritualistically solitary classroom activity and called for a broader and more exciting curriculum. Above all, they are and called for a broader and more exciting curriculum. Above all, they wanted more work allowing them to think for themselves. They wanted to design and make things, to experiment, and to engage in first-hand observations. Fifth, learning is facilitated by breaking content or instruction into small isolated units. The educational system is often geared more to categorizing and analyzing patches of knowledge than to sewing them together. Brewer notes that the technology of mass education is quite adept at breaking knowledge and skills into thousands of little standardized, decontextualized pieces, which could be taught and tested one at a time. Sixth, learning is a linear process. Frequently, the textbook or teacher provides only one linear path through a narrowly bounded content area or sequence of standardized instructional units. For example, in mathematics text, only one correct problem solution trail may be offered for a specific subclass of problems. However, the problems encountered in daily life or in mathematics seldom have only one solution path or sequence. The second one is the changes in views of the learning process. In contrast to the traditional teaching-learning paradigm, a new paradigm of the teaching-learning process is emerging, based off the 3 decades of research in human learning that encompasses the following views of the human learning process. First, learning is a natural process. The natural state of the brain is to learn, however, not everyone learns in the same way. Teachers have often noted that children who appear disruptive or have short attention spans when confronted with typical classroom instruction may spend long periods engaged in meaningful and interesting computer-related activities. Learning is a Second, learning is a social process. The communal context of knowledge and learning is the beginning to be rediscovered, as evidenced by the rapid growth of quality circles and computer-supportive collaborative work in business, government, medicine, and higher education. Vygotsky noted long ago that students learn best in collaboration with peers, teachers, parents, and others when they are actively engaged in meaningful, interesting tasks. ICTs provide opportunities for teachers and students to collaborate with others across the country and across the globe. They also provide new tools to support this collaborative learning in the classroom and online. Third, learning is an active and not a passive process. In most fields, people are faced with the challenge of producing knowledge rather than simply reproducing knowledge. The traditional curriculum asks students only to recall and describe what others have accomplished and produced, while all production and knowledge must be based on understanding of prior knowledge. The mere reproduction of knowledge without its connection to the production of knowledge is largely a passive activity that neither fully engages nor challenges the students. Fourth, learning may either be linear or non-linear. Much of what now happens in schools appears based on the notion that the mind works like serial processor that is designed to process only one piece of information at a time in sequential order. There are many ways that students have acquired and processed information and assimilate it in their existing knowledge structures. Although some knowledge domains, such as mathematics, may perhaps lend themselves to a linear approach, not all learning can or should occur linearly. Fifth, learning is integrative and contextualized. Pibram's holistic brain theory suggests that information presented globally is more easily assimilated than information presented only in sequence of information elements. It is also easier for students to see relations and to make connections. The students must discover it for themselves, and is not say that learners must discover everything unaided. The teacher's role is to help them in several ways to make connections and to integrate knowledge. Sixth, learning is based on a strength model of students' abilities, interests, and culture. Based on work of Howard Gardner and others, schools are beginning to consider the specific strengths and interests that students bring to the learning environment, and are designing learning activities that build on students' strengths rather than focusing only upon remediating weaknesses. In contrast to the remedial and standardized concepts of instruction, diversity and individual differences are valued, and the learning process is designed to build on the strengths and assets brought by the learner to the classroom. Seventh, learner is assessed through task completions, products, and real problem solving of both individual and group effort. Frequently, the textbook or Teacher provides only one linear path through a narrowly bounded content area or sequence of standardized instructional units rather than simply evaluating students through paper and pencil tests. Assessments are made using portfolios of actual performances and work in both collaborative and individual learning tasks. Third, a shift from teaching to learning. As technology has created change in all aspects of society, it is also changing our expectation of what students must learn in order to function in the new world economy. Students will have to learn to navigate through large amounts of information, to analyze and make decisions, and to master new knowledge domains in an increasingly technological society. Students will have to learn to navigate through large amounts of information, to analyze and to make decisions, and to master new knowledge domains in an increasingly technological society. They will need to be lifelong learners, collaborating with others in accomplishing complex tasks, and effectively using different systems for representing and communicating knowledge to others. A shift from teacher-centered instruction to learner-centered instruction is needed to enable students to acquire the new 21st century knowledge and skills. The following table identifies the shift that will take place in changing from a focus on teaching to a focus on learning. First table is the teacher-centered and learner-centered learning environments. Shifting the emphasis from teaching and learning can create a more interactive and engaging learning environment for teachers and learners. This new environment also involves a change in the roles of both teachers and students. The second one is the changes in student and teacher roles in learner-centered environments. As shown in Table 1.2, the role of the teacher will change from knowledge transmitter to that of learning facilitator, knowledge guide, knowledge navigator, and co-learner with the student. The new rule does not diminish the importance of the teacher but requires new knowledge and skills. Students will have greater responsibility for their own learning in this environment as they seek out, find, synthesize, and share the knowledge with others. The last one is theory supporting the new view of the learning process. The new views of the learning process and the shift to student-centered learning have emerged based on cognitive learning research and the confluence of several theories that have informed our understanding of the nature and context of learning. Each of these theories is based on the same underlying assumptions that learners are active agents purposefully seeking and constructing knowledge with a meaningful context. The learning environment that may be derived from this view of the learning. First is Vygotsky's sociocultural theory. Vygotsky's sociocultural theory of human learning describes learning as a social process and the origination of human intelligence in society or culture. There are two levels of sociocultural theory. Every function in the child's cultural development appears twice, first on the social level and later on the individual level, first between people or interpsychological, and then inside the child or intrapsychological. This applies equally to voluntary attention, to logical memory, and to formation of concepts. All the higher functions originate as actual relationships between individuals. Second is John Piaget. He observed that learning occurs through adaptation to interactions with the environment, disequilibrium, mental conflict, which demands resolution, gives rise to assimilation of a new experience, which is added to the existing knowledge of the learner, or to accommodation, which is modification of existing understanding to provide for a new experience. If the new information makes sense to the existing mental instruction or structure of the learner, then the new information item is incorporated into the structure. Example, a simulation. If, however, the data are very different from the existing mental structure of the learner, they are either rejected or transformed in ways so that it fits into the structure. Example is the accommodation. Third is Jerome Bruner. Similar to Paget, Bruner emphasizes that learning is an active process in which learners or students construct new ideas or concepts based upon their prior knowledge and experience. He identified 3 principles to guide the development of instruction. These include number one, instruction must be concerned with the experiences and context that make the student willing and able to learn. 2, instruction must be structured so that the student can easily grasp it. And the third one is the instruction should be designed to facilitate extrapolation and or fill in the gaps or going beyond the information given. Fourth is the problem solving or problem-based learning. The goals of problem-based learning or PBL are to develop higher order thinking skills by providing students with authentic and complex problems and cases. This approach to learning provides a more authentic context for learning and engages students in authentic tasks. Through the process of working together, articulating theories, creating hypotheses, and critically discussing the ideas of others, students move to deeper levels of understanding of the problem. The self-directed learning strategies developed in PBL may help foster students' lifelong learner. Fifth, anchored instruction. Anchored instruction is an approach to designing instruction that is anchored in a real-world context, problem, or situation. Technology has been used to help create real-world context and situations through the use of video. The video segments provide the context for the subsequent learning and instruction. Sixth is the distributed cognition. Distributed cognition emphasizes that cognitive growth is fostered through interaction with others and involves dialogue and discourse, making private knowledge public and developing shared understandings. Tools for online collaboration have been designed to support collaborative knowledge construction and sharing in the classroom. Seventh, cognitive flexibility theory. This theory asserts that people acquire knowledge in ill-structured domains by constructing multiple representations and linkages among knowledge units. It also notes that learners revisit the same concepts and principles in a variety of contexts. The theory is useful in understanding how knowledge is transferred in ill-structured knowledge domains. 8. Cognitive apprenticeship. Cognitive apprenticeship is a term for the instructional process in which teachers or more experienced or knowledgeable peers provide scaffolds to support learners' cognitive growth and development. ICTs provide powerful new tools to support cognitive apprenticeship, enabling groups to share online workspaces to collaboratively develop artifacts and intellectual products. They also make possible tele-apprenticeship, in which an expert is able to work with or mentor a student who may be thousands of miles distant. 9th, situated learning. Situated learning emphasizes the use of apprenticeship, coaching, collaboration authentic contexts, tasks, activities, and cognitive tools. Situated cognition theory emphasizes providing an authentic context for the learner and encouraging social interaction and collaboration in the learning environment. Through collaborative problem solving, dialogue, and discussion, students are able to develop deeper levels of understanding of a problem or knowledge. 10th and the last one is self-regulated learning. Self-regulated learners are those who are aware of their own knowledge and understandings. For example, what they know and what they do not know or need to understand. It combines self-observation, self-judgment, and self-reaction. These theories that undergird the new views of the learning process help shape the new pedagogies for learning. Ultimately, the power of ICTs will be determined by the ability of teachers to use the new tools of learning to create rich, new, and engaging learning environments for their students. Thank you for watching and listening. God bless us all.